Welcome to Fort Riley, the podcast. Today, Laura McCauley, Exceptional Family Member Program Manager, sat down and gave me some insight into how her office supports the readiness and resilience of Fort Riley families.
A lot of times families, individuals get the wrong perception of EFMP, and the Exceptional Family Member Program is a mandated program. It's following Army Regulation 60875. And basically, whenever a soldier who has family members, anyone enrolled into the DEERS program underneath their identification, and they have any type of medical, emotional, mental health, or educational conditions, and the medical and education varies, depending on, a medical doctor has to identify and acknowledge the medical and then the schools identify and acknowledge the educational. They are to be enrolled in EFMP program. So a lot of times families think, okay, my family member has asthma, or they have speech, or they may think, okay, they don't qualify because they're not with a physical disability. It's just not physical. It's medical. It's emotional. It's educational. The RIM just goes a pretty large spectrum of what the enrollment conditions are.
Okay. And now when they do enroll, and you say that you kind of support, and what happens? Say I have a child or maybe a family member who needs this kind of support.
So what happens is that they need to go down to the hospital. The EFMP, Mr. Edward Westover, he's the EFMP Special Needs Advisor Coordinator at the hospital, and he does the actual enrollments and updates of EFMP. And what happens is once those have been officially completed, and he then sends them forward to HRC, and the IMCOM HRC, and they then input and code identify that there is a family member with a diagnosis. They do the official diagnosis or official enrollment. Then once it's in the system, it goes underneath the soldier's information. So when the soldier comes up for an assignment, then branch management can pull up the soldier's information, see that they have a family member enrolled in EFMP, and then what they do is they communicate with a possibility of a gaining installation to ensure that we have the facilities, medical, educational, overseas, educationally, available at that installation. So what we're trying to do is make sure that our family members are being taken care of at the installation that they're going to be at, because what we know to be true is that if we have that availability and they can be taken care of, we have a family that can be more successful at the installation, which encourages and certainly has shown that readiness for the military and for the Department of Defense. So it's kind of a readiness mission in a sense, that we want to make sure that they're there, taken care of, because we don't want to bring a family here and they have a lot of medical per se, or, hospitalization or upcoming surgeries that's not available at the installation, because most likely they'll be referred off post or, like in a distance, like possibly Kansas City or Wichita or somewhere, and we want to make sure that that's being taken care of and looked at, and we can provide the services that they need. Now, it doesn't mean that, like a family member may need to see a specialist, and that will be referred off post, like to Kansas City or somewhere else. If they look at the frequency of how often and the condition of what's upcoming treatment plans. So it's kind of a component of they're making sure that, they're looking at the frequency, the travel that would be involved, the type of specialist, medical specialist, how many medical specialists. And so they kind of look at that to ensure that, families can be taken care of and they don't have to travel frequently or it's not available. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense. So in reality, what you're doing is you're facilitating that they have the support they need for wherever they're in during their term of service. So they don't garner more hardship. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And cause financial struggles.
Stress, and then it just kind of cascades. So you're safeguarding that.
So they can either make contact with IAC or here.
Okay.
We would refer families, like after kind of talking with them and explaining EFMP and, what it all entails and involves, because so many families don't understand actually how the program operates. And I understand, it can be, there's a lot of components to it.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a wide umbrella there.
A wide umbrella. And so we can either provide them guidance and or the EFMP, Mr. Ed West over at the hospital.
Okay. And so if someone wanted to get in contact with you, with your office, what's the best way to reach you, or where are you located?
The Family Support Services is at Army Community Service, Building 7264. And our main number is 785-239-9435. And my direct number is 785-239-1861.
Okay. And if you had one thing you wanted to tell people who may be kind of on the fence and I don't know if I should call, what would you tell them?
To call and get the information, because what it is that we're trying to do pre-planning, and to do smart thinking for the family, and it's not a harmful situation. It is more of we're trying to ensure that the families can be taken care of and successful. Okay. And we want to provide support, and we can be an advocate, in many ways, we want to, like with the schools, if they need a connection to the school district, we do that frequently. We communicate about how that kind of works for them if they're not understanding that. And again, like when soldiers are incoming to the installation, and we want to make contact with them so that we can get them connected to the right resources. So I kind of see us as the family support services, that we get families connected to the appropriate types of resources and help them navigate those systems.
Thank you for listening to the Fort Riley Podcast.